Our thoughts, words, and action create fluctuations in our field of consciousness. These can either bring us closer to our true self or they can lead us away from ourself and cause pain and suffering. When we asked about meditation, Patanjali Joyce used to say, "You are sitting here, but your mind is going to many other places. Your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else. How can you meditate if you cannot control the mind? First, you have to purify the body by following the external limbs of yoga: yama, niyama, asana, and pranayama. Then you can get some degree of control over the mind." Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That is Vritayyah, pañchatayyah, klishtā, aklishtāha. In the previous sutra, we talked about vṛtti sarupyam itaratra. That means anytime when the mind is not still, we take similar form of our thoughts. That is mental modifications, the vṛttis. What you think affects how you feel. Thoughts and feelings shape your life because they influence your behavior and determine what you see as possible choices. But these mental modifications or thoughts can be painful and not painful. These thoughts can create misery or these thoughts can create non-misery. But remember, this non-misery cannot lead you to blissful state because we are born with a blissful state. But the mental modifications has covered it. Our thought process has been all layered by our societies, teachers, etc. The mental modifications are fivefolds. Some cause misery, others do not. Let's break up the sutra to understand it more clearly. Vritayyah, pañchatayyah, klishtā, aklishtāha. Vritayyah, plural of vṛtti, thoughts, construct, mental modifications, the revolving habit of the mind, thought process. The word vṛtti means to turn. The expression implies thought which rotate or keep returning no matter how much one might try to eliminate them during meditation. Some vṛttis are beneficial. They lead towards the state of yoga or samadhi, and others are afflicted. They lead away from yoga. Pañchatayyaḥ, that is fivefold, 5 categories or group of 5. Kliṣhṭā is affliction or that which is caused by afflictions. In general, kliṣhṭā means that which is hard to deal with, that which creates complications in life, harmful, painful. Imagination and false perception triggered by fear. For example, perpetuate fear, imagining the presence of God in a Shiva lingam, infuses the mind with love and devotion, and thereby banishes fear. Anxiety triggered by the instability of the stock market brings misery. Therefore, such anxiety is klishtā, harmful or painful modification of the mind. Akliṣhṭa, that which minimizes affliction, the modifications of the mind that are not caused by afflictions. Harmless, not painful. Friends, Whatever activity or mental modification is done by the mind, impressions are formed in the mind field. All mental modifications create some degree of agitation in the mind field. Some are relatively harmless, while others are harmful. On the other hand, anxiety triggered by spiritual discourses can infuse the mind with courage and enthusiasm to undertake a practice conducive to one's growth. Therefore, such a modification of the mind is aklishtāha, not painful. In the language of modern psychology, these klishtā and aklishṭa vṛttis are regarded as negative and positive thinking. When accompanied by negative emotions such as anger, fear, hatred, jealousy, ego, attachment, and grief. The modifications of the mind are called negative thoughts. When accompanied by love, affection, hope, kindness, and forgiveness, these modifications are called positive thoughts. Often we know that negative thoughts and emotions are not conducive to our well being, and yet we fail to stop them. We also know that positive thoughts are conducive to our well being, but we fail to engender them at will. Driven by the subtle impressions of the past, the mind keeps producing negative and positive thoughts. And we, as conscious beings, find ourselves tossed by these powerful forces of the mind. The yogis say that as long as there is mind, there will be modifications, and that if we do not make a conscious effort to take charge of ourselves, the mind will keep functioning under the influence of subtle impressions of the past. To escape from the past and create a joyful future, we must learn to employ our inherent power of will and determination in the present. These functions, being painful and non-painful, are fivefold. The first thing to be understood that mind is not something different from the body. Remember, the mind is part of the body. It is the body, but deeply subtle. A state of body, but very delicate, very refined. You cannot catch it, but through the body you can influence it. Let us take an example of alcohol. If you take a drug or alcohol, suddenly the mind is affected. The alcohol goes into the body, not into the mind. But the mind is affected. The mind is the subtlest part of the body. The reverse is also true. Influence the mind and the body is affected. That happens in hypnosis. A person who cannot walk, who says that he has a paralysis, can walk under hypnosis. You don't have paralysis, but if under hypnosis it is said that now your body is paralyzed, you cannot walk. You cannot walk. What is happening? Hypnosis goes into the mind. The suggestion goes into the mind. Then the body follows. The first thing to be understood, mind and body are not two. This is one of the deepest discoveries of Patanjali. Now, modern science recognizes it. It is very recent in the West. Now they say it's psychosoma, it is mind body. These two terms are just two functions of one phenomenon. One pole is mind, other pole is the body. The body has five organs of activity, five indriyas, five instruments of activity. The mind has five modifications, five modes of function. Mind and body are one. Body is divided into five functions. The mind is also divided into five functions. We will go into each function in detail in the next sutra. These five modifications of the mind, this totality of the mind, can lead you into deep anguish, in dukkha, in misery, or if you rightly use this mind, its functioning, it can lead you into non-misery. It can lead you at the most into non-misery. That word non-misery is very significant. Patanjali doesn't say that it will lead you into ananda, in bliss. No. The mind can lead you into misery if you wrongly use it. If you become a slave to it. If you become the master, the mind can lead you into non-misery, not into bliss. Because bliss is your nature. The mind cannot lead you to it. But if you are in non-misery, the inner bliss starts flowing. The bliss is always there inside. It is your intrinsic nature. It is nothing to be achieved and earned. It is nothing to be reached somewhere. You are born with it. You have it already. It is already the case. That's why Patanjali doesn't say that the mind can lead you into misery and can lead you into bliss. No, he is very scientific, very accurate. He will not use even a single word which can give you any untrue information. He simply says either misery or non-misery. Once you are in the state of non-misery, the inner bliss starts flowing. But that doesn't come from the mind. That comes from your inner being. So mind has nothing to do with it. The mind cannot create it. If the mind is in misery, then mind becomes a hindrance. If the mind is in non-misery, then the mind becomes an opening. But it is not creative. It is not doing anything. You open the windows and the rays of the sun enter. By opening the windows, you are not creating the sun. The sun was already there. If it was not there, then just by opening the windows, rays wouldn't enter. Your window can become a hindrance. The sun rays may be outside and the window is closed. The window can hinder or it can give away. It can become a passage, but it cannot be creative. It cannot create the rays. The rays are there. Your mind, if it is in misery, becomes closed. Patanjali says, mind can do two things. It can create misery. You can use it in such a way that you can become miserable. And you have used it. You are past master of it. There is no need to talk much about it. You know it already. You know the art, how to create misery. You may not be aware, but that is what you are doing continuously. Whatsoever you touch becomes a source of misery. I say whatsoever, but Patanjali is careful. He says misery or non-misery, positive misery or negative misery, but not bliss. The mind cannot give you bliss. No one can give. It is hidden in you. And when the mind is in non-miserable state, the bliss starts flowing. It is not coming from the mind. It is coming from beyond. That's why he says they can be either a source of anguish or of non anguish. That's it, friends, with the Yoga Sutra 1.5. The next Sutra 1.6, we will try to understand Pramana, Viparya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smritaya. We really hope that you enjoyed it, and please feel free to send any questions that you may have. See you soon. Take care. Keep smiling. Namaste.